Hey everyone, before we jump into the video, I just want to clear something up real quick. A few days ago, I ran a poll on the community tab asking you to vote on the theme for the next video. So, if you voted, you might be thinking, wait, wasn't the next video supposed to be about the most underrated CS2 player? Well, here's the deal. That video is still in the works. The one you're about to watch was actually made before the poll went up. Don't worry though, the underrated player video is definitely coming. It's a bit more complex with a lot of metrics and deeper analysis, so it needs a little more time to get it just right. With that said, let's dive into today's topic. Today, we're looking at two extremes: the best individual tournament performance in CS2 history, and the worst one. We'll see two players, two tournaments, and what makes them stand out from the rest. First, thanks to Anton Franzen and MinPK for becoming Ko-Fi members. If you want access to all my spreadsheets, code, and datasets, including the tools I used for this video, check the link in the description. And now let's get serious. It wasn't just about checking HLTV and hoping the result would show up. To get to this point, I had to take it a bit further. So what did I do? Well, I built a scraper in Node.js that analyzed over 10,000 player performances over more than 10 years in the professional scene. At first, everything was raw. Imagine a mountain of data with no filters, a complete mess of tournaments from Tier 4 all the way up to major finals. I was dealing with literally every single competition and nearly every player who's ever graced the game in recent history. Of course, I couldn't just roll with it like that. Because, as you know, in the middle of all those lower-tier tournaments, you always get those players who absolutely dominate the scene, crushing teams that are out of their league. Top-tier players who are, frankly, nightmares for Tier 3 or Tier 4 teams. So, comparing them directly just wouldn't make sense. I needed something more refined, a filter that would weed out the less relevant competitions and give me something meaningful. So, after a bit of tweaking, I decided to focus solely on Tier S tournaments. Why? Well, these are the events where the stakes are the highest, the players are the best, and the competition is fierce. This way, I could ensure I was only looking at the cream of the crop. On top of that, I set another rule. The player had to have played at least 6 matches in the event. Why 6? Think about it. If a team loses every match in a Swiss format, say going 0-3, they still end up playing a total of 6 maps. This rule helped me filter out substitutes, coaches, and players who only made a brief appearance. I wanted real performances, not just one-off showings. Now, with the data cleaned up, I focused on HLTV's rating 2.0 and 2.1. These metrics track everything: kills, impact, survival. Basically, how effective a player is throughout a tournament. After analyzing all the data, 2 performances stood out above the rest. One was mind-blowingly good, and the other, well, surprisingly bad. But for the sake of science, let me give you the top 3 best and worst performances so you can see the extremes. My code works in a pretty straightforward way. It gathered data from various sites, filtered it according to the criteria I just mentioned, and then spit out a nice neat CSV file. From there, I created a formula in the spreadsheet to rank these performances. The result? What I call the event score. What's interesting isn't just the numbers, it's what they tell us about the players. Was the highest rated performance from an underdog who caught everyone off guard? Was the lowest from a veteran who had a rough tournament, or a new player who just couldn't handle the pressure? These stats tell us about real moments in competitive CS2. What I found most fascinating wasn't just the random spikes in performance, but the context behind them. The highest rated performance came from a player who was at their absolute best, at the perfect time. Meanwhile, the lowest rated performance shows us that even the greatest players can have an off day. Both of these players were at top-tier events, but with very different outcomes. So, before I reveal who they are, I'll leave it to you. Take a guess. Who do you think had the best tournament performance in CS2 history? And who had the worst? Drop your guesses in the comments. Ready to find out who had the best performance ever? And who had the worst? Let's dive in. Let's begin with the best. Most of you probably already know the result and have his face in mind. The most absurd, impressively unbalanced performance was by Donk from Team Spirit during IEM Katowice 2024. During one of the greatest player primes in history, Donk was in an incredible phase, dominating both Tier B and A championships. However, all spotlights turned to him during IEM Katowice 2024, as it was one of the first Tier S events he participated in. The young Russian never faltered for a moment and remained composed on the big stage in front of millions of fans watching. If you think Team Spirit had an easy path through the tournament, you'd be mistaken. In their first match, they faced the powerful Na'Vi, who would become major champions just over a month later. In the series against them, Donk started strong from the beginning. In the best of 3, which Spirit won 2-1, Donk finished 57 kills and 36 deaths with a 1.45 rating, carrying the first series for Spirit alongside Shiro. After this match, Spirit faced Elijah's complexity. Once again, Donk carried the team. On the first map, Ancient, Donk went 22-9, dominating complexity. The third match, against FaZe, and nothing changed. Donk finished with a 1.82 rating with a standout performance on the second map, Nuke, where he went 27-9 with a 2.38 rating. It's worth remembering that at the time of the match, FaZe was ranked number 1 in the world, making Donk's feat even more incredible. But it wasn't over yet. In the semi-final, Team Spirit also took down Falcons, where despite Sunpace's great performance, Donk continued to shine. In total, Donk eliminated 36 enemies, finishing the series with a 1.64 rating. And finally, they reached the final, once again against FaZe. Without any doubt, we witnessed the greatest performance by a Counter-Strike player in a championship final. It was 3 maps and 3 shows of absolute superiority from Donk. 32-14 on Nuke, 24-18 on Mirage, and 26-8 on Overpass. And the highlight reel? Absolutely mind-blowing. There were piles of incredible plays by Donk on every map, which once again cemented the reign and peak of the young Russian. In the best of 5, which Spirit dominated 3-0, Donk finished 82-40, with more than 30 kills ahead of the second-place player and an incredible 1.94 rating. In the end, Donk finished the competition with a 1.7 rating across 12 games. On the event score, Donk scored 1,000 points, the maximum possible. In Tier S tournaments, Donk's performance at IEM Katowice 2024 was the only one to reach this score. In second place, we have Nico's performance with FaZe at ESL 1 New York 2017, having a 1.7 rating in 7 games and scoring 991 on the event score. And in third, Rain, also from FaZe, and also in the same competition, ESL 1 New York 2017, who achieved a 1.61 rating in 7 games, scoring 927 on the event score. If we also considered qualifiers for Tier S competitions, we would have a few more at the top. Zaiwu, for example, scored 1,000 on the event score at the PGL Major Copenhagen European RMR, finishing the qualifier with a 1.71 rating in 7 games. Kicking off our bottom 3 countdown, we have Nav at number 3. His run at the PGL Bucharest 2025 left a lot to be desired, ending with a rough 0.69 rating over 6 games and managing to scrape together just 83 points on the event score. Not quite what we'd expect from someone of his caliber. Coming in at number 2 is Drop from MIBR, who unfortunately didn't fare much better. His performance at the Perfect World Shanghai Major 2024 was one to forget, ending with a 0.68 rating across 9 maps. His event score, a disappointing 72 out of 1,000. It was a tough tournament all around for him and his team. And finally, at the very bottom of the barrel, we have none other than Carrigan. His showing at the Blast Premier Spring Final 2024 was, to put it mildly, a catastrophe. With a brutal 0.67 rating over 8 games and just 64 points out of a possible 1,000, it was statistically the worst performances of all time. For a player with such a storied career, this one stings. And that wraps up our ranking of the worst individual performances in recent top-tier CS events. What did you think? Anyone you were expecting to see? Maybe someone who just missed the cut? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Oh, and if you're into stats, spreadsheets, and the code behind these deep dives, consider checking out my Ko-fi page. You can support the channel and get access to all the behind-the-scenes data work. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.